I still remember the day everyone in school laughed at my shoes. Not because they were dirty, but because they were too cheap. One girl even took a picture of them and posted it online. The caption said, "POV, when your entire outfit costs less than lunch." And the worst part? Everyone laughed. Even the teachers pretended not to notice. My name is Maya, and for the past 2 years, everyone at Westbridge High believed I was poor. Actually, that's exactly what I wanted them to think. Every morning, I arrived at school on an old bicycle. I wore simple clothes, I never talked about my family, and I always avoided conversations about money. Meanwhile, the other girls carried designer bags. They wore expensive jewelry and spent money like it was nothing. Especially Ashley. Ashley was the queen of Westbridge High. She was rich, beautiful, cool, and she absolutely loved humiliating me. One day during lunch, I quietly sat reading a book. Suddenly, Ashley grabbed my tray. "Oh no," she said dramatically. "Did the charity cafeteria forget your free meal?" Her friends burst into laughter. I felt my face burn red, but I stayed silent. That only made Ashley more annoyed.
"You know what your problem is, Maya?" she snapped. "You act like you're better than everyone." Before I could answer, someone suddenly sat beside me. It was Ethan. Ethan was the most popular boy in school. Every girl liked him. Ashley, especially. He looked at Ashley coldly. "She's not acting better than everyone," Ethan said calmly. "She actually is." The cafeteria went silent. Ashley's jaw dropped in shock. "Excuse me?" Ashley said angrily. But Ethan ignored her completely. He smiled at me softly. "Mind if I sit here?" I nodded nervously. And from that day, everything started changing. People began whispering about us. Why was Ethan always talking to me? Why did he suddenly stop hanging around Ashley? Even I didn't understand it. Everything felt strange. One afternoon after school, Ethan walked me to my bike. "You know," he said, "you're different from everyone here." I laughed awkwardly.
"That's just another way of saying weird," I replied. "No," he smiled. "It means real." For a second, my heart skipped. But then I noticed Ashley watching us. She stood across the parking lot, staring angrily. And trust me, that was not a good sign. The next day, things got worse. When I opened my locker, garbage fell out. Students nearby started laughing immediately. Someone had taped a sign inside. The sign said, "Poor Girl Storage." I knew Ashley did it. But before I could clean the mess, a teacher walked over. Instead of helping me, the teacher sighed. "Maya, maybe try fitting in more." I couldn't believe it. Nobody ever blamed Ashley. That night, I sat silently in my room. Cruel comments filled social media. Someone even edited my face onto a cartoon beggar. Honestly, I was just tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of hiding who I really was. You see, my family wasn't poor. Not even close. My father owned one of the biggest security companies in the country. Celebrities and billionaires hired our company. But nobody at school knew that. After my mom died, my father became overprotective. He hated fake rich people and private schools. So when I begged to attend a normal school,
He agreed on one condition. Nobody could know who I really was. At first, it felt freeing. I thought people would like me for me. But I was wrong. People treated me badly because they thought I had no money. And honestly, that hurt more than anything else. The next morning, my father noticed I looked upset. "What happened at school?" he asked. "Nothing," I lied quickly. But he didn't believe me. Something about his expression changed. That afternoon, everything changed. I was sitting in chemistry class quietly. Suddenly, the principal rushed inside nervously. "Excuse me, class," she said quickly.
"Maya, someone is here for you." Everyone turned toward me immediately. I frowned in confusion. For me? Then the classroom door opened. A tall man in a black suit walked inside. The entire room froze instantly. He looked straight out of a movie. Sharp suit, serious expression, earpiece in his ear, and another man stood behind him carrying expensive bags. The suited man walked directly toward me. "Miss Maya," he said respectfully, "your father requested additional security starting today." The classroom exploded with whispers. "What? Security? Who is she?" Everyone stared at me in shock. Ashley looked completely confused. Even Ethan stared speechless. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. "You weren't supposed to come inside," I whispered. "My apologies," the bodyguard replied calmly, "but there was a potential safety concern." Then he handed me my forgotten lunch, inside a luxury thermal case. Great. Now everyone stared at me like I was a celebrity. As I walked out of class, I heard Ashley whisper, "No way." But things got even crazier during lunch. 3 black SUVs pulled into school. Students literally stopped everything to stare. The bodyguard opened the door for me. And suddenly, everyone realized the truth. The poor girl wasn't poor at all. Ashley looked pale. Ethan looked completely speechless. And for the first time in 2 years, nobody laughed at me anymore. That should have felt good. But honestly, it didn't. Because now everyone treated me differently. And it all felt fake. Girls who ignored me suddenly wanted to be friends. Teachers suddenly became nice. Even the principal smiled at me differently. Only Ethan acted normal. That afternoon, Ethan found me sitting alone behind the gym. "You okay?" he asked softly. I shrugged quietly. Then I looked at him. "You know what's funny?" I said. "Yesterday people hated me because they thought I was poor. Today they love me because they think I'm rich." Ethan sat beside me silently. "That says more about them than you," he said gently. I looked at him carefully. "You really didn't know?" He laughed softly. "No idea," he admitted. "Then why were you nice to me?" I asked. He smiled warmly. "Because you were nice to everyone else. Even when nobody deserved it," Ethan added. For the first time all day, I smiled back at him. But our moment didn't last long. Ashley suddenly appeared, and she looked furious. "You lied to everyone!" she shouted angrily. I stood up calmly. "I never lied," I replied. "You just assumed."
Ashley crossed her arms angrily. You think money makes you better now? Before I could answer, Ethan stood up. She was always better than you, he said coldly. Ashley looked heartbroken, then embarrassed. Suddenly, Ashley ran away crying. A week later, everything at school changed completely. Nobody bullied me anymore. But strangely, I missed being invisible. At least back then, I knew who people really were. One afternoon, I spoke to my father. I want the bodyguards removed from school, I told him. He looked surprised. Are you sure? My father asked carefully. I nodded slowly. I don't want people fearing me. I just want real friends. The next day, I arrived at school alone again. No SUVs, no bodyguards, no special attention. And surprisingly, Ethan was waiting beside my bike. You know, he grinned, for a rich girl, your bike is pretty terrible. I laughed softly. Good, I replied. I like it that way. Then together, we walked into school. Not as the rich girl and the popular boy, just two normal people. And honestly, that felt better than all the money in the world.